So today the goal is going to be to build a custom AI voice agent that picks up every customer call that comes in. Let me give you a quick demo of what we're gonna build by the end of this video.
Hi, this is Lily from Flora. How can I assist you today?
Hi, I just wanted to ask if you guys offer same-day delivery. Actually, I need flowers and it's a bit urgent.
Absolutely. We do offer same-day delivery as long as the order is placed before 3 p.m. If you tell me what city it's going to and roughly when you need it to arrive, I can guide you on the best way to place it quickly and make sure we choose something that works for today.
Yeah, I would highly appreciate if it's by the end of today. And by the way, what are your hours of operations?
We're open Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and we're closed on Sundays. And for getting it there by the end of today, we can definitely aim for same-day delivery if we get the order in before 3 p.m. What city or area is the delivery going to, and is it going to a home or a business?
All right, then I'll call you back when I have the details regarding the order and I'll be able to place it before 3 p.m. If not, I'll just come in tomorrow morning and just place it at the store.
That sounds perfect. If you're able to call back with the delivery address and a good contact number for the recipient before 3 p.m., we'll do our best to get it out for same-day delivery. And if it ends up being easier, you're very welcome to pop in tomorrow morning. We open at 9 a.m. and we can put something lovely together for you on the spot. Thanks so much for choosing Flora, and I'll be here whenever you're ready. Have a great rest of your day, and I hope the flowers bring a big smile.
Okay, thank you. Bye. So that is exactly what we will be setting up by the end of this video. So if you want to set up an AI voice agent for your own business, maybe you want to set it up for a client of yours and you want to save on the costs, then I would highly recommend you watch this video till the very end. It's going to be super fun and we're going to build it without writing a single line of code. So if you're ready, let's get started. And just so you know me, my name is Yashica Jain and I am an AI voice agent specialist. We deploy voice agents for businesses all the time, and whenever our client needs something custom or they want to save on costs, this is how we go ahead and deploy the voice agent for them instead of using a third-party app. So I thought of why not covering it in the video because Claude Code is there and it can easily code it out for us on the go. Apart from that, we also help businesses set up AI agents, agentic workflows, and AI systems. In case you're interested, don't forget to check out the link to our website in the description. So let's head over to Claude Code. Okay, so I'm on Claude Code's website. Now the question is, how exactly are we going to access Claude Code? Because as you can see, there are many different ways of accessing it. So we will be accessing it through an IDE so that we are clearly able to see the code, etc. And it's easy for us, okay? So now coming to the IDE. Now, I would recommend using VS Code. I would be using that for this video. If you have it installed, great. If not, simply download it. Okay, so now I'm inside VS Code and here we're going to open a folder. So I created a folder called Voice Agent and I selected it. And for this particular project, we are not going to be accessing it as an agent. Instead, we will be accessing Claude Code through the terminal. This approach is going to be helpful when we will be deploying our code, okay? So let's go to terminal. Let's click on New Terminal. Now, for those of you who don't have Claude Code installed, all you have to do is go back to this website, copy this command, paste it here and hit enter. As soon as you do that, Claude Code would be installed. Then all you have to do is log in either through your Claude account or connect your Claude developers account. That should be pretty straightforward. Once everything is set up, we're going to open up a new terminal. We're going to type in Claude and then you will see Claude Code right here. Now, the first thing that we're going to do is change the model. So just put a /, type in model, hit enter. So here you have different options. You have Sonnet 4.6, Opus 4.6, Haiku. For this particular one, I'm going to go with Sonnet 4.6. And for the effort, I am going to go with medium effort. Okay. And let's press enter. So as you can see, the model has been changed. Now it's time to start building. So right now we don't have any code files in here. We're starting completely from scratch. So we're going to give it an initial prompt about what we're looking for. What is the technical architecture? What are the features we want to use? And based on that, it is going to come up with the skeleton of our voice agent. So here is the initial prompt that I'm going to send it. So let's quickly go through it. By the way, I'm going to share this prompt with you so that you can also build it easily. You can find it in the resources linked in the description. It's going to be free to access. So I've told it that I want to build a self-hosted inbound voice agent using LiveKit agents framework. Here's everything you need to know. We're going to come back to the tech stack. For now, let's go through the prompt. So what it should do, answer inbound phone calls, have a conversation using AI, and log every call, including the full transcript, caller number, duration, and timestamp to Airtable. So basically, pick up the call, talk with it, and after that, give us the complete logs of the call. So the tech stack to use, LiveKit agents for the voice pipeline. So let's quickly understand what exactly is LiveKit and why are we using it as our base functionality. So LiveKit basically helps us build voice, video, and physical AI agents. It is an open source framework and developer platform for building, testing, deploying, scaling, and observing agents in production. If you scroll down here, you'll be able to see that OpenAI built ChatGPT's advanced voice on LiveKit Cloud, used by millions of users. So we all talk to ChatGPT, right? So on the back end, it's basically LiveKit. It's built on top of LiveKit. And because of that, we won't have to go into the nitty-gritty stuff of voice and all of that. That is all taken care of by LiveKit. Now, it is an open source framework, meaning you can self-host it for yourself and then use it. That way, you don't even have to pay for LiveKit. It's basically free for you. But because I don't want to complicate this tutorial, we're going to use LiveKit's cloud as our server. We're not going to self-host LiveKit. We're just going to use their cloud functionality. Now, obviously, it comes with a price, but we're going to start with the build plan, which is basically free, and it should help us get all the basic functionalities we are looking for. If you want, you can also go ahead and self-host it and use it from there. So those are the first two, meaning our voice pipeline is sorted. The next one on the list is Deepgram. So Deepgram we are going to use for STT, which is the short form for speech to text. So every time the customer speaks something on the call, for example, hello, then it's Deepgram's job to convert that into text that would be furthermore used by our OpenAI model. And this is the website of Deepgram, as you can see, speech to text API. Now, the good thing is that the API comes with $200 worth of credits. You don't have to pay up until that, and that should be more than enough for us to build this and test this. So the goal would be to spend as minimum as possible to get this up and running. But once this is live, once this is answering your customer calls, once this is getting you profit, then there is no loss in investing in this. And it's obviously going to cost you way less as to what you would pay to these third-party apps. The third-party apps charge you per minute, and that cost really adds up, but these ones are not going to add up till that point. And even after your free credits are over, it's pay as you go. You don't have to pay these monthly or yearly subscriptions. You can just pay for your usage. So that was point number 3. Then we're going to use OpenAI for the LLM, which is basically the AI intelligence behind our voice agent, which will be able to answer the customers. If you don't want to use OpenAI, you can also use Claude, you can use DeepSeek, you can use any other LLM model, that doesn't matter. Then we're going to use 11 Labs for text to speech. So we have done the speech to text, we have sent it to OpenAI. OpenAI has given us a response in text, obviously. But then we need to, read that back to the customer, right? So for that, we're going to use 11 Labs. We're going to use one of their voices, and it's going to basically, convert it into voice that the customer can actually hear. Because this is not a chat bot, it is a voice bot, and it should have a voice, and that is going to be powered by 11 Labs. Then we're going to use Celero for VAD. You don't have to worry about this one. We're going to talk more about VAD down here. So let's move on to the next point, which is Twilio. So Twilio is basically this phone numbers provider from where you can buy phone numbers and you can easily connect them to your voice agents using SIP trunking. So they provide very affordable phone numbers at about $2 a month, and you can easily connect it to your voice agent. So we're going to use that one. Now, just in case you have an existing phone number and you don't want to change it to this new Twilio phone number, you don't want to make the changes on your website, on Google, then what you can do is you can still have the Twilio phone number and still have your existing number. But then when the call comes in on your existing number, you can just forward it to the Twilio number so that the voice agent picks it up. And mind you, Twilio also has a pay-as-you-go cost. So you're not just paying for the phone number, you're also paying for the usage. And then we have Airtable, where we're going to be storing the call logs, the transcripts. You can get started with the free plan. It's going to be more than enough. So this is the tech stack that we're going to use. And even after using all this, the cost that we're going to spend per minute is going to be way less than what you would usually pay to third-party apps. Now, here's the project structure. You can go through this. Then I'm talking a little bit about the Airtable setup, because if you don't tell it about all of this, then you would end up, getting errors later on. So you have to tell it about the name of your table, the different columns that you're going to have, the type associated with that column, etc. And how are we going to connect all of these? So we're going to connect it using API keys, personal access tokens. It's not a big problem. Now, coming to the critical technical requirements. Now, it's not that easy that a phone, comes in on your Twilio number, you connect it to LiveKit, you send it to Deepgram, you send it to OpenAI, 11 Labs, and that's it. Actually, there are a few more things to this. For example, latency, etc. And that is exactly what we are asking Claude Code to handle right here. So the first is latency optimization. Now, we don't want a big gap between when the customer stops speaking and when the AI gives the answer, because that's going to be awkward and that's not good. So that is why we're doing latency optimization. We're going to use LM streaming. We're going to use text-to-speech streaming so that the agent starts speaking as soon as the first tokens arrive, and we are not going to wait for the full response. Then coming to VAD tuning. So this is done so that it doesn't cut off the, speaker mid-sentence and also doesn't have awkward silence waiting for them to finish, right? And then there's interruption handling, there is streaming pipeline, error handling, security, cost protection, right? You got to save your money from scammers. And then Twilio webhook validation. So talking about the deployment, we will be deploying it on a VPS so that this runs 24/7, meaning if your customer calls, let's say 3 a.m. at night, it's still able to, pick up the call and answer them. And then we're talking a little bit about the code style, like, write a clean, well-commented code so that even a non-developer can understand it, etc. And then we're telling it that after you are done building, give me a checklist of everything I need to set up on my end. Maybe LiveKit, maybe Deepgram, etc. So I hope this approach is clear to you, because it's very important to understand what we are using and why we're using it. That's why I took a few minutes to explain this. So let's copy this. Let's head back to Claude Code and let's paste it here. And as I said, you will be able to access this prompt for free. Just look for the resources linked in the description. And let's hit send. Okay, so after a few minutes of thinking and working, it is asking for my permission. So we're just going to allow it for all the edits during this session. Alright, so it's saying the files have been created and it is giving a pre-launch checklist that we have to create accounts with all of these and then follow these steps and add it to the env file basically. So let's go through the agent.py file that it has basically coded out. Okay, so this is the code it has come up with. Now, for the time being, we haven't specified the system prompt. We're going to do that. For now, the goal is to get this working, and then we can obviously tweak it as per our needs. And this is the README file. So let's do this setup quickly. So the first thing is the LiveKit cloud account. Okay, back to LiveKit. So let's create an account with them. Let's skip this. So let's go to settings and then API keys. Let's create a key. Let's call it voice agent. Let's copy the API key. Then head over to the env.example file and then here replace the API key. Next is the API secret, which is this one, and the LiveKit URL, which is this one. Okay, so LiveKit done. Now it's time for Deepgram. So here's Deepgram. Let's create an account with them. Let's go to API keys and let's create a new API key. Copy that and paste it right here. Next is the OpenAI API key. So let's go to openai.com and log into the API platform. And here, let's go to dashboard and then let's go to API keys. Let's create a new one. We're again going to call it voice agent, create, copy and paste. And for OpenAI, make sure you have credit balance because they don't have any free tier or anything. So have at least $5 in here for this to work. Next, it is 11 Labs turn. So let's log in and then go to developers and then API keys. Let's call it voice agent again. Let's add like a monthly, limit to this. So let's do 100, for example, and just give it access for speech to text. And let's also give it for voices. And that's it. Let's create it, copy and paste. Now we have to tell it which voice we would like to use. So there are many voices from which you can choose. So let's go to their voice library and let's select a voice. So just go to voices, and from here you can explore different voices and select one of them. So let's quickly add the filters. So for the language, we're going to go with English, accent, let's go with American, conversational. Okay, now these are our choices. So let's just quickly choose one of these. Okay, so I'm going to go with this one, which is basically for customer service itself. So I'm going to click on the three dots and I'm going to copy the voice ID and let's replace it here. Let's leave Twilio for now and let's first set up Airtable. So just create a new Airtable base. I'll put the link to Airtable in the description in case you need help with that. Actually, I'll put the link to all of these different platforms so that you can easily access it. And let's call this one call logs. Going back to our prompt, so we told it that the table name is going to be call _ logs. So let's rename the table. Okay. Now, these are going to be the fields. The first is the caller number, which is a text field. So let's rename this as a caller, as the caller number. Single line should be fine. Then we have the duration seconds. So let's call that one this, but this is going to be a number. Then we have the transcript, which is a long text. And lastly, the created at. This is going to be a date field. Okay. We can get rid of both of these and we are good with this. Then go to your profile and select Builder Hub. We're going to go to Personal Access Tokens. And let's create a new one. Let's call it Voice Agent. For the scope, add all the scopes. And for the base, just select the call logs base and create a token. Copy that and replace it under Airtable PAT, which is basically Personal Access Token. Now, all of these APIs and all, they're going to help us access our accounts, basically. Okay. Then we have to give it the base ID. The table name is the same. So let's give it the base ID. So back to our base, in the URL, just after airtable.com, you will find the base ID, which starts with app and it ends before the /. So just copy that and paste it here. So here also it has told you. So it's basically this ID in the middle. Okay, here maximum call duration in seconds. Yeah, 600 should be fine. Okay. LLM model, let's use GPT 5.2. STT, which is Deepgram, Nova 2 should be fine. Yeah, that's fine. And then there's the system prompt. For now, let's just go with this system prompt. Later on, we're going to improve on that. And now let's go back to Twilio, which is the last thing that we have to set up before we can move forward. So here are the steps in the README file. So Twilio account plus SIP trunk setup. So first, create a Twilio account by a phone number that supports voice. Okay, so here I am inside my Twilio account and the first thing we have to do is get a phone number. So just go to active numbers. Now I already have the phone number, but if you don't have one, just click on buy a number. You can search for your country and for the capabilities, make sure voice is enabled. That is a must, okay? Then you can go through the numbers, whichever one you like, you can simply buy. As easy as that. Okay, so next is create a LiveKit SIP trunk in LiveKit Cloud. Okay, so we're going to go to SIP, we're going to create a new trunk, we're going to copy the URI, and we're going to set the dispatch rule to create a new room for each call. Okay, so this is LiveKit. So go to SIP trunks under telephony, then create a new trunk. Let's call it voice agent. Trunk direction is inbound, meaning when someone calls you. Okay. The list of provider phone numbers this trunk accepts. If none are specified, it accepts calls to any number. Yeah, that's correct. Allowed addresses. Yeah, this is also correct. And I think that's it. Let's click on create. Okay, so it's saying either numbers or allowed addresses must have at least one valid entry. So in that case, let's just use this particular IP because here it's saying if left empty or set to this one, all IP addresses will be allowed. So let's use this one and let's click on create. Okay, I guess that's it. And now we're going to copy the SIP URI. So we weren't able to find this particular setting. That's completely fine. Next up, it's saying point your Twilio number at LiveKit SIP. So go to Twilio, go to your phone number, and then under voice and fax, when a call comes in, change it to the SIP endpoint and then enter the endpoint. Okay, so here we are. Now we're going to choose the number. So let me go with this number. And here under voice configuration, let's select SIP trunk. But before that, we need to create the SIP trunk. So let's come out of this. And let's search for SIP trunk, elastic ones. Yeah, just save the changes, that's fine. And here we're going to create a new SIP trunk. Let's call it Claude Code Voice Agent. Let's turn on call recording and then come to the origination tab and just add a new origination URI and then paste the LiveKit URL we had copied, okay? And then add it here. And then go to numbers and select the number. Just make sure you're choosing add an existing number and you're not buying a new one. And let's choose it. Now let's see, going back to the phone number and the SIP trunk is selected successfully. That is what we wanted. So all of this done, last step, copy the auth token and paste it. Okay, so let's go to account dashboard and just copy this auth token right here and then let's paste it in the env file. Alright, so I think we are in a pretty good state. I know it was a little bit of work to do, but worth it. And let's save this. Let's tell it I have completed all the required steps. Take care of the rest and make it ready to be called in. Basically, run it. So after that, it basically found out that Python is not installed in my system. So it asked for a couple of permissions and now it's asking for the permission to install Python inside my system on my behalf. So I'm just going to give it the permission for that. Okay, so it returned this, that firstly, the real credentials in .env.example have been moved to .env. And then it said that GPT 5.2 doesn't exist. So let's see. I'm on OpenAI's documentation. There we go. So let's add that to our feedback. GPT 5.2 does exist. And then it installed Python. Good. It removed this. Okay. One thing to check before calling is that the API key isn't properly set up, which is in the .env file. So let's see. .env. Oh yeah, it is ending in that. So inside 11 Labs, it says it ends in 3A98. Okay, so I think these are extra. So let's get rid of that. Solved. Let's tell it I corrected the 11 Labs API key. Okay. Then it's talking a little bit about deployment, which we are going to skip for now. And then it's saying call your Twilio number now. The agent will greet you and the transcript will appear in Airtable after you hang up. So let me just ask it to change the model to GPT 5.2 and then we will go ahead and test it. Alright, so that is done and okay, let's call it. Alright, so I'm calling the number and no one picked up the call. So let me tell it I tried calling but no one picked up. Alright, so the agent never received a job. There is no new call entry in the logs at all. The call never reached our agent. This means the Twilio LiveKit SIP dispatch rule chain isn't configured. The agent code is fine. The plumbing between Twilio and LiveKit is missing. Okay, so create an inbound trunk in LiveKit. We did that. Oh, so now it's giving the SIP IP ranges. Okay, so let me tell it that I didn't add that IP address. Also, I'm telling it there is no such setting as dispatch rule. I couldn't find it. And in Twilio, the only option was to connect an SIP trunk. And I'm telling it that we added the SIP URI as the origination URI. Okay, so it's asking me in Twilio, how did you connect your phone number to the SIP trunk? So let me just type it. So while creating the SIP trunk and within active numbers, my trunk is clearly shown. Or let's say my trunk name is clearly shown. Okay, it's saying call again. Same thing, no one picked up. Okay, it's saying call again. Alright. Hello. So this time the call was picked up, but then from the other end there was no reply. So one step forward at least. Alright, so let's tell Claude Code about this. Okay, it's saying fix the 11 Labs key. Go to 11 Labs, get the API keys and paste the new key in the .env file. Okay, so let's create a new key, voice agent. And this time let's not limit it, okay? And let's create it. And let's replace the API key under 11 Labs API key and save it. Then let's tell Claude that I've replaced it. Alright, call again. Everything should work this time. Let's see. Hello. Alright, so there was no reply from the other end. Okay, I think the problem was with the voice. I think I didn't add it to my account. That was the problem. So anyways, let's just work with the default voice for now, and later on we will change it. And it is saying that Airtable worked. Oh yes, it did. So here's the caller, basically the number, and the duration in seconds. And the caller said hello, and this is the date. That's nice. Let's get rid of the first 3 columns that are empty. Alright, so calling it now.
Hello, thank you for calling. How can I help you today?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. How can I help you today?
Alrighty, that worked. And going back to Airtable, let's see. Thank you for calling. How can I help you? Yep, that's correct. Alright, so that is good news. Now it's time to work on the prompt for our AI voice agent. We're going to tell it who it is, how it's supposed to talk, how it should help the customers, what to say, what not to say, and much more. Well done. Now, help me write the perfect system prompt for the voice agent. So now we have to give it the details about the business, how it should talk, any pointer you have in mind that you want the voice agent to know, just mention it here in plain English. For example, here I'm telling it that start with the identity section of the prompt, give the agent a friendly name of your choice, establish that it is a warm, friendly customer support representative for Flora, a flower boutique that sells custom-made flower bouquets. Here is the business information, so you tell it something about the products and services, hours of operation, things about your business that people usually inquire about on the call. And then a little bit of, what you have in mind, how it should sound, what it should do. You can put it all in here. And at the end, I'm asking it to update the system prompt in the agent.py file. I mean, it's not necessary that you mention the name, but it's good to. With a well-structured identity, behavior, and knowledge base section on the above. So now let's copy this and let me paste it here. All right. And now let's send it. Okay, so it named it Lily, which is perfect. And now let's call and let's see.
Hello, thank you for calling. How can I help you today?
Hi, who am I speaking to?
Hi there, you're speaking with an AI voice assistant. How can I help you today?
Alright, so it seems that the prompt was not implemented. Otherwise, it should have said you're speaking to Lily, a customer support representative for Flora. Let me ask it, did you update it in the env file? Because it was a variable there, right? Alright, so now let's call it again.
Hello, thank you for calling. How can I help you today?
Hi, who am I speaking to?
Hi there, you're speaking with Lily from Flora. How can I help you today?
Hi, Lily. Can you tell me a little bit about, your services?
Of course, I'd love to. At Flora, we create custom, handcrafted flower bouquets for all kinds of occasions like birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, or just because. We can tailor the flowers and the overall style to what you have in mind, and every order comes with complimentary gift wrapping and a personalized message card. We also offer delivery, including same-day delivery if you place the order before 3 p.m., and we do nationwide delivery as well. If you tell me what the occasion is and when you need the flowers, I can guide you on the best options.
Alright, so the system prompt worked. The only thing is that in the very beginning, when it picks up the call, it should say that, hi, this is Lily from Flora. Alright, so that has been fixed. Let's call again.
Hi, this is Lily from Flora. How can I assist you today?
Hi, Lily. What are your hours of operation?
Hi there. Thanks for calling Flora. We're open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and we're closed on Sundays. Is there a day you were hoping to stop by or place an order?
Okay, thank you. That's it. Okay, that was smooth. Now let's also check if Airtable is being updated. Okay. Yeah, it is. Okay, so now let's change the voice. I'm not a big fan of the current voice. So let's see. Conversational. Yeah, this was the voice, I guess.
Hi there. I'm here to help with questions, support requests, and quick answers. All delivered.
So one step we missed was we didn't add it to My Voices. So just click on this plus icon. It should add it to our account. And now we can go ahead and copy the voice ID. And come back to the env file here. And right here, replace the voice ID. And let's save that. Let me call again and see if the voice changed.
Hi, this is Lily from Flora. How can I assist you today?
Both the voices were kind of the same. I couldn't tell. Alright, so we are in a pretty good state now, and we have our voice agent up and running. It is answering questions, it is talking back and forth. Moving forward, if you want to add any more functionalities like transferring the call to a human, connecting to your calendar, for example, or anything else that I am not able to think about at the moment, in that case, what you can do is you can come to Claude Code and just tell it in plain English, and it will be able to do that for you. You just had to watch this video to get the basic functionality in place, like LiveKit, Deepgram, and all of that. Now you're in a good state, and if you want to create any more functionalities, you can do it yourself without having to watch a video about it. Similarly, if you want to make any changes to the voice agent, how it's speaking, maybe it doesn't know an answer to a particular question, you can come into Claude Code and just tell it in plain English. Now you might think that why did we even go through the pain of setting this up and creating so many accounts on these different platforms, LiveKit, Deepgram. Let me tell you in clear words that this voice agent that we have set up is anywhere between 4x to 5x cheaper compared to the third-party apps out there that help you create voice agents. If you compare the per minute cost of what they're charging you and what you would spend after creating accounts on all of these different platforms and paying them, you will notice that there is a huge difference. And I'm not even kidding. Another thing to note here is that for most of these platforms, we're going with their free tier. Like we haven't paid for LiveKit, we haven't paid for Deepgram, for example. So while you're testing it, while you're building it, it's cool. But when you're taking it live and your customers are calling it all the time, they will exhaust and you will have to eventually pay for it. But again, it is 4 to 5 times cheaper. So you're able to handle many calls at a lesser cost. Now, another thing which is important is concurrency, meaning how many people can call this number at once and speak with the voice agent. So let's ask it. What is the concurrency level of this voice agent? How many calls can it handle at once? Alright, so it is saying there is no hard cap. LiveKit uses a dynamic load-based concurrency model. So the LiveKit cloud side has no limit. It will dispatch as many jobs as your worker claims it can handle based on the reported load. So realistically, on a laptop, you would get 3 to 6 simultaneous calls before the 70% load threshold kicks in. So that is the concurrency level we're looking at, which is right now. But then after we deploy it on a VPS, this concurrency level is going to increase. So depending on the server you're hosting it on, your concurrency would matter. So let's say you want 20 calls concurrency, like at one time 20 people can call it, then you need to have a better VPS with better resources. And the other thing why we need a VPS is also so that our code runs 24/7. We don't want that just after a little bit of inactivity, it sleeps and it doesn't pick up the customer calls, which is another reason why we're going to host it on a VPS. And if you're hosting it on a VPS, it means it is not going to use your system's resources. Like here, if you see practical limits on your current Mac, which means on my laptop. It could be different for your laptop, right? So we don't want it to put load on our system. We don't want it to hang our system. So instead, let's, get a virtual private server, which is a VPS, so that it runs. We have concurrency and we're not disturbing our own system. Now, there are many VPS providers online from which you could choose, you can buy your VPS from. But based on my experience of dealing with VPSs all the time, I would recommend buying your VPS from Hostinger, which is also the sponsor of today's video. They provide great VPS at very affordable rates and the cost to performance ratio is unmatched. Their VPS is live 24/7. I use it for all my self-hosting instances. And it's very easy to get started with. It's very scalable in the long term. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can deploy it on a VPS just in a moment. So you'll find the link to this page in the description below. Go ahead and click on that link. It's going to bring you to this particular page. Now, if you scroll down on this page, you will see the different plans they are offering. And for our particular use case, for the concurrency that we're looking at, 15 to 20, I would recommend going with the KVM2 plan. It's coming with 2 vCPU cores, 8 GB RAM, 100 GB NVMe disk space, and 8 TB bandwidth. So if we go back here, it is saying a 4-core and an 8 GB RAM one could get you 8 to 15 concurrent calls. So we have 8 GB here. We have 4 vCPU cores in the next one, but I would say go with the KVM2 plan. It is the most suitable for our use case. Obviously, if you're getting many calls and you want to scale, maybe you want to get 30 concurrent calls, in that case, you can always upgrade to the next plan. So once you're all set, just click on choose plan. And yes, you can compare this pricing with the other VPS providers. You'll see the difference. Here you can choose for how long you would like to get this VPS for. So you can either get it for 1 month, you can get it for 12 months, and you can also get it for 24 months. The more, the better the price. Here you can choose if you want daily auto backup or not. It is an extension. And here you can choose a server location which is the closest to you. For the operating system, we are just going to go with Ubuntu and confirm that. Now we can see the order summary here. So here is the KVM2 plan, which is for this particular duration. Then we have the domain name and the domain privacy protection. Now, since you're watching this particular video, you can use the coupon code Yashica20 to get a flat 20% off on your cart value if you're either going with the 12 months plan or the 24 months plan. This offer is valid till the end of March 2026. So that's even a better price. So once you're all set, just click on continue and complete the purchase. Now let me show you how we can deploy it on our VPS. So soon after the VPS is purchased, it's going to take you through a small onboarding process. During that process, you have to just choose the same operating system, which is Ubuntu. And after that, it's going to ask you to create a root password for your VPS. Make sure to create a strong password and store it somewhere, because we will need it later on while deploying. And that's it. After that, it's going to take a little bit of time to set up the VPS. And now let me show you how the rest of the process is done. Now the crazy part is that we are going to ask Claude Code to deploy it for us on our behalf. So this is the prompt that we are going to share with it. So great, now let's deploy this. I have a hosting a VPS running Ubuntu 22.04. In case your version is different, you can change that. I will provide you with the VPS IP, root, username and password. When ready, please SSH into the VPS directly and handle the entire deployment for me, including all of these, okay? Also confirm that the agent will automatically start if the VPS reboots. And don't worry, you will have access to this prompt again in the resources linked in the description. So let's send it here. Just in case you're wondering how you can check the version of your Ubuntu, so you just come here, you click on this and you will be able to see the version. For me, it is 24.04, which is the latest stable. Okay, so it's asking for the VPS IP, username and password. Let me ask it. Should I share it in the chat? Okay, so it's saying that I can share it here. So just go to manage. Here you will see the root access. So just copy this and just paste it here, root access. Okay. Then it needs the root password. So let's give it the root password. So soon after you had bought the VPS, it must have asked you to set up the password for the VPS. So that is the exact same password that you had to share here. If you don't remember it by any chance, you can always change it. Then let's also give it the IP. So here's the IP. And let's also give it the domain of our VPS just in case it needs it. And let me ask it, do you need anything else? Now it's going to ask for some permissions. So just give it the permissions one by one. And by the way, it's saying that that's everything I need. Let me start the deployment now. Alright, so it's saying deployment is complete and the local MacBook is no longer running anything and the VPS is going to handle all the calls from here. So let's go ahead and call it. Here I'm calling it. Hello. So there seems to be an issue. So the call was picked up, but there was no reply. So it seems it is again an 11 Labs issue. Okay, so I think it was again the voice ID issue. Let it be. The voice is not that bad. Okay.
Hi, this is Lily from Flora. How can I assist you today?
So the call went through, but now my question is it from the VPS? Okay, yes. It ran entirely on the VPS and there were logs that gave these. Okay. That means the deployment is done. Alright, and Airtable is also working fine, which is nice. Alright, so I hope this video was valuable and you were able to learn something new. For example, how you can use LiveKit, Deepgram, etc. to create a voice agent for yourself from scratch using Claude Code. By the way, when I say from scratch, it means that we are using the underlying technologies that the other SaaS platforms in the market are using as well. It's not that we are reinventing the wheel. Obviously, we are working on technologies that have been set up for many years. Even ChatGPT uses that technology. But yeah, it really helps, cut on the costs. So anyways, I hope you're going to go ahead and set up a voice agent now, maybe for your own business, maybe for a client of yours, or maybe just for learning purposes. I will share the prompts with you in the description. Just look for them. You'll be able to access it for completely free. If you're interested in getting your business automated with AI, if you're looking for voice agents, AI agents, agentic workflows for your business, don't forget to check out the link to our website in the description. If anyone is looking for one-on-one Zoom consultations, then you can check out the link to my consulting calendar, which is again in the description. Don't forget to follow me on LinkedIn as well as X for some more exclusive content. I will meet you in the next video. Till then, bye!